Hey,
And I think Thomas is coming.
All right, y'all. How is it going? All right, y'all made it. Emily, Naomi, what's up? Y'all met me in outer space. Good to see you guys.
feels good. It feels good to be up here in space.
Yes.
It's getting a little wild up here. We've had some craziness, but it's been a fun time. So, all right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? First and foremost, yes, Naomi West and Emily Ryan, thank you both for being here. I'm super excited about this presentation. We have Galactic Simplicity, embracing the power of minimalism and plain text and email design. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you save those questions for the Q&A section towards the end so Naomi and Emily can answer those questions for you. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure my crew is all right. I will go ahead and step out, and I'll see you guys in just a moment, all right?
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you.
We are so excited to be here. When Emily and I started to put together this topic, there was just so much we wanted to talk about. And text-based emails, they don't get a lot of TLC, right? And they're so, so important. So we are both really excited to be here with everyone today to talk about text-based emails, plain text emails, and why we've started to see them convert better, which is not to put out anyone from a job. Designers can stay. But this is a great approach for those that have maybe limited resources or want to simplify their emails. So I'll pass it over to Emily to introduce yourself.
Perfect. Yes. Hey, I'm Emily Ryan, and some people have called me Email Lee before. And I am an email marketer. I have a small email agency outside of Chicago called Westfield Creative. And we've been serving clients, all kinds of brands and small businesses over the last 9 years. Some of our clients include, Orangina and Sparkling Ice and Columbia University, we still work with, and Postable. So a wide range in brands. And we've just seen a lot of things over the years. And, plain text is really a part of a lot of these brands' strategy now. Obviously weaved in with more design heavy emails. So I'm really, really excited to talk about this. And I also have to mention, I found my son's NASA hoodie. So I'm wearing a 9-year-old hoodie at the moment in honor of this event. But I'm so excited to be with Naomi. Naomi's someone I've looked up to in the email world. And what more fun than me and Naomi just sitting here chatting about email.
Yeah, you guys are in for a fun back and forth ride with us today.
Yeah.
So I'm Naomi. I am coming in from Parcel, which is an email coding platform. I've been in email marketing since 2015, and I'm obsessed with it. It's my hobby. It's my full-time job. I live in Vancouver, but I also have lived in London previously, and I've worked kind of both on the ESP marketing automation side as well as in multiple in-house roles. And yeah, I'm just really email obsessed. So I have a lot of examples to talk through today.
Cool. So the question is, why are we both here when, obviously we love HTML design heavy emails that are gorgeous and amazing and interactive, but why are we here talking about plain text? And it's really interesting because Naomi and I both submitted to speak here about this topic separately. And they're like, well, you both submitted sort of the same thing, so let's bring you together. Because I think we've found that working with clients and our customers, that plain text actually works really well as part of your marketing strategy. And we're going to show you some really cool examples, but I think you're gonna see get some good ideas from this session.
There are definitely emails that I have started to note when they land in my inbox too, with plain text, text-based designs. Like when I see them land in my inbox, I'm like, oh, different strategy. So they've caught my eye, and I think that's why exactly we're talking about them today.
Exactly. Yes. So here's what we want you to know today. Number one, simpler is always better in email marketing. I try to drill that in my head and drill that in my clients' heads. Simple is better. A/B testing, you really need to test this though. Text-based versus HTML. It's really interesting when you start testing to see what people are going to respond to. And maybe your specific customers are going to respond to those beautiful designed emails, but it's really worth testing text-based versus HTML. We're also going to talk about what the data is showing us based on this, the A/B testing, and what brands are doing with text-based emails. Some really fun examples. Naomi's going to bring it with best practices for text-based emails, because there are actually some guidelines for a great plain text email. So that'll be really good. And then question and answer. So again, and I want to say it a few more times, in email, less is more. Let me know in the chat, actually, if you agree with this. And when I say less is more, I'm meaning, keeping your call to action very clear, one simple idea with every email, not doing these long newsletters that people can never get to the bottom of, because people don't have a lot of time to read long emails. So less is more. And this quote I found, and I just had to share, I thought it was cool, from HubSpot. For example, shouldn't an email with an image of an ebook being promoted do better than an email with no visualization of that offer? Wouldn't just a plain email be really boring and not explain the offer? Aren't humans wired to be attractive to beautiful design? Well, unfortunately, this principle doesn't always apply to email. And the reason is very simple. Email is perceived as a one-to-one interaction. You are going into one person's inbox. You may be emailing 100,000 contacts, but it is a personal interaction with one subscriber. So really thinking about every email you send, think about as if you're writing it to one person on your list. So it's just very personal. All right. And so Parcel actually looked into this. And so Naomi's going to dive into that.
Yeah. So earlier this year, I guess for context, I've been at Parcel now for coming up on 2 years in the new year. And because we were a small team, we actually ran with kind of this text-based approach on the left since the dawn of time, right? It was just easier to get out the door. And myself, I don't consider myself a graphic designer. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm horrible at designing. And so we ran with this text-based approach on the left for many, many months. And then in January of this year, I had Mark Robbins came and joined the team, and I was like, finally, I have a developer that can make email look really nice and can kind of bring to life this idea that I have. Because as a marketer, sometimes I feel like I'm judged on the way certain things look, which is fair, instead of, what they're actually saying. So I said to Mark, okay, we're going to run this designed variant test. They're not necessarily apples to apples with the text-based approach, but we're going to position a designed email next to this text-based approach, and we're going to run it until it reaches some form of statistical significance, which took around 5 months to get a super healthy sample size. And this was for our welcome kind of automation. So as soon as someone signed up to Parcel, they received one of these variants, and we tested it until I think we had at least 1,000 people down each variant, if not more. And after running it for 5 months, I ended up going and taking a look at what the results were. My hypothesis going into the A/B test was that more individuals were going to be inspired by the designed variant because we were bringing in product imagery, and it looked better. Therefore, it would kind of elevate, what we looked like to those end individuals. But what we ended up seeing was the text-based had higher conversion. And then myself as a product marketer, I have a couple goals. One of them is obviously to drive revenue for the brand and encourage people to subscribe to a paid plan. And so that ultimately was kind of the North Star I was shooting for. But aside from that higher conversion rate, I also had a handful of replies come into that text-based approach, which not only allowed me to lead those individuals to that conversion event, but allowed me to form some of these long-term relationships that I consider myself very ingrained in now. And I can reach out to these people to do customer case studies. And it was that one-to-one relationship that I was able to forge through the text-based approach that allowed me to kind of ring the bell and say, ding, 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 this text-based approach won. And although we saw the higher click-through rate on the designed version, it didn't ultimately lead to the conversion event that I was hoping to achieve. So I said to Mark, thank you for designing this beautiful email, but I will not be proceeding with it. I will go back to the email that takes almost zero to no resources to get out the door. And looking at kind of the learnings from that, it again just signified that email is a two-way street. It's a two-way street. It was designed to be conversational, and tactics that worked back then with people communicating, back and forth, one-to-one, it still works now. And I think what I realized was my own bias was deceiving me a little bit. Less design does not equal a bad quality email. And sometimes simpler emails, right? They result in higher conversion, which is what I saw. I think the third learning that I took home was it allowed me to stand out in the inbox. I all of a sudden kind of like fit in with the design version that everyone receives on a day-to-day, but a text-based approach that ultimately like caught people's eyes, and it allowed people to reply a lot easier, even though the design version had a question at the end and was trying to get people to reply just in the same manner. But ultimately, each brand is completely unique. And so I did see, some people in the comments say long form works for me and design works for me. It's going to completely depend, and it will depend on kind of the content type as well. So I definitely recommend making sure you test it before you run off to your managers being like, let's scrap our designed emails.
Totally. Yeah, and actually Megan chatted something interesting. Even plain text is the design of your fonts, your paragraph breaks, your links. So even in plain text, there are some very important design elements within the most plain of emails. So we're going to actually look at that. So what are we seeing brands do with text-based emails? So again, Sticker Mule is just like, it's one of my favorites. We all love Sticker Mule because they send the most basic, I mean, these are truly plain text, left aligned, Arial font, plain. But what I love is how simple, like they come right out with like, hey, this is our offer. Their subject line, even clear labels, custom labels. But I guarantee you people click these links because it is so easy to read. We're going through our inbox. I click on Sticker Mule's email. I can read this in like 3 seconds and know exactly what it's about. Get 50 clear labels for $19. Done. Need a design? We also do this. So I think it just works really well for a company like Sticker Mule that has a simple offer. They're not showing photos of their stickers at all, which is interesting. So they've always been a great example. And here is an example I really love from Everlane, a clothing company. They typically send really beautiful, modern, clean emails like you see on the left with the photo, a big headline, beautiful background color. But every once in a while, they will throw out this simple plain text email on the right, which, as you see, has some design elements to it. They have their logo still at the top. They have a light gray font. They still have their footer, which is interesting. Like you can do plain text and still bring in your footer menu. But I love this because the biggest email day of the year, Black Friday, they chose to send a plain text email. And you know what? I actually read it because it was different than what they always do. So like Naomi said, it catches you off guard a little bit. And you're like, oh, it's like this brand is now writing to me, and it's very casual. Hey, our Black Friday sale's going on. Just going to let you know, 40% off. It ends tonight. Boom. So I think it is a really smart strategy sometimes on the biggest holidays to throw in that simple note from the co-founder or the CEO and keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, right. This is an example similar to kind of the fashion realm that you were just talking about with Everlane. Outdoor Voices is like an activewear company, and this one completely caught me off guard because normally their emails are very heavily reliant on images to represent the item that they're talking about. But I don't know if it was the greeting, like, hey, hi, hello. I'm like, oh, no one ever greets me like that. But the simplicity of featuring one product and one product only. Awesome news, the quick to sell out, like immediately I'm like, oh, this is quick to sell out. Maybe I should pay attention. I'm not in the market for an activewear dress, but maybe I should be. And then it links out to the dress. It's finally back in 2 colors, River and Scarlet. So I'm envisioning, okay, this dress is available in 2 colors. And then I love the need it fast, find your local shop. So if I wanted to go in person, I could kind of take a look at what is near me. So this text-based email without the imagery for me is so clear. It's short in design and very, very eye-catching, which I loved. And I think when we normally think of like a text-based approach to an email, we're thinking about terms and conditions emails, right? Transactional pieces. And why do we not throw imagery into our transactional emails? Well, because you want to deliver the message that the subscriber is expecting to receive, password reset, a terms and conditions update piece. And that's because imagery detracts away from that. And so why are we not looking at our marketing campaigns in the same light? You know, can we kind of take away the imagery and focus on the key message? Maybe we should be taking inspiration from terms and conditions updates and transactional pieces. So transactional emails, they do not get the love they deserve, but I am giving them love today because I think they have some learnings in there.
Yeah, and I think someone brought up a good point. Are we talking about plain text or text heavy? And actually, we are kind of talking about both in this talk. So a lot of these examples are just more of the text heavy approach, like less imagery, less HTML, just more plain text. And I understand the question, but we're basically talking about more text heavy emails, less design. Although this example does have some design elements to it, but I just had to include it because I love it. Tattly is this really fun brand. They send really beautiful emails. But at the bottom of a lot of their emails, they have this one section, fun links to click on. And it's just a list of links, just plain.
I love this. I love this.
I click on these all the time. And I get their email every week and I scroll to the bottom just for this section because I'm always looking for like fun content, like similar to this. So they always include the coolest stuff to link to. So I just love this approach. Like, hey, what if we just like give people a list of really cool stuff to look at?
Like, what if you were an e-commerce brand and you were like, here's our new in products. Wow, this new t-shirt is beautiful. Check out our new handbag. I'm like, okay, you've sold me. Like, I'll click through. I'll take a peruse, right? It's a great, a really cool technique.
It's very clickable. My own newsletter that I send is a link roundup similar to this. And the click rates are really high because if you give people fun stuff to click on, they're going to click. And a lot of it has to do with the way you word these links as well. So obviously giving people a reason to click on it, a little bit of curiosity in the way you write the copy is important too. Awesome. Okay, so this is another example. Again, text-based email. They have their logo at the top. This is a daily newsletter that I subscribe to. And most people do not want a daily newsletter in their inbox, but I love this so much because it's one link every single day. One link and one link only. And I mean, sometimes they have a sponsor down here, but it's just one great piece of content that I know is going to take me 2 seconds to click and read. As I've said a couple times, like we are all pressed on time. So anytime you can keep something short, I just really love these emails because it's short and simple. I like that their blue link stands right out and I usually click on it. Cool.
This was another from a candle company called Mala. They make hand wood wick candles and I love them. They have one that is a Fruit Loop smelled scent and I buy it every year, but they're normally reliant on a ton of imagery. Melody, the founder, is a former graphic designer, and some of her emails that she sends, I'm like, that is so cool. This is such a beautiful image. And so I was especially surprised when this one landed in my inbox because I've seen her start to play around a lot with kind of text-based emails. And I think where my eyes gravitate to is the call to action right in the middle there, right? Which is shop up to 60% off here. I actually skip over her first paragraph. I'm so sorry, Melody, but I skip over that and I'm immediately drawn to just the shop 60% off here, with kind of the reply back to this email with your order number, and I'll throw in a free 8-ounce surprise candle, which I think is really cool. So again, she's approaching it in this one-to-one way, even if it is a marketing automation piece, right? This email is not going out to just me, sadly. It's going out to probably thousands of people, but my eyes are drawn to that CTA.
Yeah,
Which
it feels so personal too. Like reply back and I'll throw in a candle.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will say copy out loud just to make sure that it sounds like a human, like you're a human. So I really like how she says, I'll personally throw this in.
Yeah. And even the greeting, like, hi, Naomi. I'm like, that's so nice of her. Like, she's greeting me casually. And the PS at the bottom too, we're about 80% sold out of our current stock already. I don't know if that is like a FOMO technique, but I did read that and I was like, okay, maybe I should be purchasing my Fruit Loop scented candle like right now so that I can not only get it before it runs out of stock, but also I would love to get that surprise candle there too. So again, just it's so worth testing this text-based approach against something that is highly designed. I would love to see, if she's tested it, what she's seen, but it's just cool. It's a cool technique.
Yeah.
And then this is another email that landed in my inbox from Endy. Endy is a Canadian-based mattress company, and they're actually one of my favorite email programs because this isn't meant to be mean, but I'm always surprised when a company that sells mattresses can do email so well that I'm tempted to buy another mattress before I need one. And that just speaks to how they've constructed their email program. So I have purchased a mattress from them, but they do have kind of complementary additives, bed frames, pillows. And again, it's so clear the way that they've structured their links in this email. So I'm immediately drawn to the 50% or 15% off entire collection. I'm like, oh, do I need a pillow? Maybe. And then below where you might be bringing in an image normally, they've just linked out their specific products. So if I am in the market for a bed frame specifically, or just a pillow or more, I can easily navigate to that. So it doesn't require me to scroll. It's directly in my inbox. Even on mobile, it doesn't really cut off, which is great. So I open that email, I see the value prop, and I click it.
And they still got their nice footer down there, which makes me happy.
Look at that little footer. Yeah, so it's not saying that your entire email, like, get rid of your logo and get rid of the nicely designed footer. It's, can you simplify what you have currently as a highly designed email into just communicating what you need to communicate?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And then we have one more example. This is one I always use and I always send to clients. This is from the Peach Truck, which is a small business that sells literally peaches out of the truck. And this is their welcome email. And I love it so much because obviously it has an image, but when you get this, it tells their story. So you see a picture of them with their children, and then it says, hey, it started in a parking lot, and the rest is text. And then it pretty much ends right after that. But this drew me into this brand. This one email kind of connected me to this brand because I was like, oh, it's mom and dad with kids, and they started this small business with this truck that they bought. And so now I know their story. I love emails in a welcome series that are like, this is how we started. This is about us. But really weaving in that plain text in the middle of, obviously after their photo. But I just think this works so well for their brand. It's more than just a company that ships you peaches. Like there are people behind it and a story. So I love this. Cool. So the question is plain text or text-based, is that for every business, every brand? Does it work better for some brands versus the others? What are your thoughts on that, Naomi?
I think it depends. This is, if anyone's in the audience and frequently uses this as an answer, you get it. But yeah, it completely depends. I mean, you can't say, yes, it's for me, or no, it's not for me until you try it. Because I went into that test at the beginning of this year thinking for sure my bias was designed is for my audience. The brand, we are an email coding platform that enables people to create beautifully designed emails. Of course, our own communication should be highly designed and should wow subscribers. And I was pleasantly surprised. And so, yeah, you have to test it. I do think there are certain emails where text-based could absolutely be for everyone. I really liked, like, if you have the resources to receive replies, I think a text-based approach is the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ali Jensen asked in the chat, a lot of these examples are promotional. And yeah, a lot of these are e-commerce examples. What would we say about like for B2B versus B2C? And obviously I think a lot of B2B, we all get the like cold emails in our inbox like crazy. They're plain text. So a lot of B2B companies are utilizing plain text because people have found that it works. So I think it definitely can work for any business and any brand, as long as you are trying different things. Like, don't just say, hey, we're going to just do plain text emails and we're not going to do anything else. Like, definitely try a mix of things. Email is all about trying new things, seeing what works, testing. And obviously you want to A/B test this over a period of time. You don't want to test once or twice and say, oh, okay, plain text is going to work better. Like, test it over 2 months and see what kind of conclusions you get. Because it might be, you might be surprised. Cool. All right. So the fun part. So best practices for text-based emails.
Yeah. So best practices still completely apply. I think that when you're looking at an email, you should absolutely be left aligning your text. I know there's a rule of thumb, if text kind of spans over 2 to 3 lines, left align it. Again, please just left align it. It's way easier for your eyes to follow. When you're embedding links and you don't have like a button, embed them contextually. So don't say click here. Don't say go now. Embed the link against the context of what you're encouraging a subscriber to go do. Because if you don't embed it contextually, it requires the end user to understand the prior communication as well as the post communication. They don't know where they're clicking. And for screen readers as well, when the list of links is compiled, it's best to embed that contextually so that keyboard navigation can kind of go through. Use 16 pixel font size. I will not read an email if I'm squinting. And I'm a big mobile reader. I'm a desktop reader as well, but if I have to squint to read your copy, I'm not going to read it. I will just delete it. And I think that probably goes across the board, right? We have such a short attention span when it comes to emails and reading what's in front of us and our devices. So if you're not kind of making yourself very clear, you're going to lose that interest. And personalize the copy.
It's always interesting about font size too. To me, like, it always feels weird. Like when you're doing 18, 20 point font, it feels weird, but I promise you it does not come out that way. So I always encourage people, like, it may feel too big for you, 18 point or whatever, but I promise you when it's on mobile, if you have 16 or 18 on mobile, it's going to be so much better for people.
Yeah, I know Erica asked in the Q&A here, I notice a lot of the examples include a personal introduction, or even family photos. Is that a best practice? I feel like personalizing copy when it comes to a text-based approach makes it feel like it's that one-to-one kind of piece. So I absolutely recommend it. This could be a really fun test for individuals to run too. If you want to go like a generic text-based email versus a highly personalized one, that could be a really interesting test to run. And then my 5th point, this is for all email types across the board, but just avoid using a no reply response. It feels so weird when I get a text-based email saying like, hey, Naomi, I'm here. If you reply, like, I'll appreciate you. And then you go and it's a no reply at domain.com. I'm like, I've been wronged. Just avoid a no reply. It's such a weird interaction to have.
Yeah. Awesome. So takeaway here, experiment with text-based emails, test, and just try it. Try weaving them in. Like I'm definitely working with the client now. We send, only design heavy emails, but at the holidays, we always do a note from the founder that's like a super short email, like, hey, holiday season's here. We're excited. That's a great way to kind of get started this holiday season, trying to weave it in. And it's just a really fun new way that people could possibly look at your brand if you haven't done that before. So please just try it.
Yeah, let's try it out.
Awesome. And there are lovely little QR codes for you guys if you want to scan. Naomi, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am on Twitter at email from Naomi. I'm on Instagram at email from Naomi. You can ping me on LinkedIn, but that's my website there as well. And I have a fun newsletter called Slow Emails that you can subscribe to if you want to hear more about email.
So good. Yes. Same. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok as well. Emily Ryan tweets, Emily Ryan likes, Emily Ryan talks. Yeah, I don't know. But we will take a couple questions now if we have time. Yeah, we have some time. Sweet.
Yeah, best time ever, Q&A time, y'all. All right, let's take a look at some of these, shall we? First and foremost, I want to throw this up really quick. Mark asked, Naomi, can we do another split test with that interactive hotspot this time?
Mark, let's talk. We have a meeting pretty soon. Hey, yes, absolutely, of course.
That's
Just
so
for you,
funny.
Mark. Just for you, Mark. All right, moving on here, shall we? Okay, this one came in from Evan. He wanted to know, should subject lines for plain text emails be especially eye-catching?
I think all subject lines should be, eye-catching depends on your definition of eye-catching, but I think all subject lines should be clear and concise regarding what the email is about to be about.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm
you
not
throw
sure
in-
I would adjust my strategy, like whether depending on if it's plain text versus design based. I'm not sure how that would affect my subject line. I still want a great subject line either way.
Yeah, I agree.
Good subject lines always win. All right, moving on here from Alex. Alex want to know, when you have a button, is it still good to embed links in the body copy? What do you think?
I guess it depends on, are those links the same as the button link? Or in the ND example where they have a 15% off, shop now, is there bolded embedded main call to action? And then they have the secondary embedded links, which were mattresses, bed frames, pillows, and more. I think it just depends. I wouldn't consistently embed the same link 20 times throughout the email. If the main CTA is that link as well, I would embed other contextual links if you want.
Yeah, agreed. I'm a fan of having the link in the button and having it like once in the copy as well.
Love it. Have it in multiple spots. All right. Moving on here. So that one's from Alex. This one comes from an Ali. He wanted to know, a lot of these emails are promotional. Would you say text-based emails are best saved for promotions? Is it different for B2C versus B2B?
Yeah. This is the question I was chatting about. B2B, obviously, you see a lot of cold emails coming from B2B. So plain text works really well for a lot of B2B companies. I do think it can be different. Promotional emails are typically going to be, product images, like you want to feature your product. So, sending a plain text email, not having a photo of your product feels a little weird. So it just is a little bit easier, I think, for B2B. But I think everyone should be trying it.
It's funny when I think of like the stereotypical promotional email in the B2C space, I think of a highly designed email with a ton of imagery in it. And when I think of the stereotypical email in B2B, like a cold sales email, let's call it, I think of a text-based approach. I think it would be really fun if those cold emailers maybe A/B tested a highly designed email. I once had someone land in my spam folder, because it was a cold email, with like a highly designed email featuring their golden retriever. And they were like, me and Molly are going to be so happy if you jump on a demo call with me. And I was like, okay, you have sold me. And I think it was, again, just because that stood out in my inbox. And like, I'm a sucker for a golden retriever. So that was my in. But I feel like branching away from the stereotypes that you often see are going to be what causes you to stand out in the inbox. And again, like, you can only learn by testing.
100%.
That's cute in the chat.
Yeah.
ABT, always be testing. And look at that golden retriever, y'all. Oh,
right? You can't say no to that face.
Can't say no. Oh my goodness. Well, Naomi, Emily, both of you, thank you so much for taking time on your busy day to be here. Naomi, it's always a pleasure to have you back, as always. Thank you so much for coming back. And Emily, thank you for coming out for your first time. We had such a
Thank
great
you.
time with both of you. So
fun.
thank you so much. Make sure y'all follow them on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and I think TikTok, I believe, as well. So let's go and wish them well. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome, y'all. Awesome. All right, everyone. Let's go and wave a goodbye to them. And then we're getting ready for our next session with notes from the dev panel. That should be moving up here in just a moment. So I'll see you guys and I'll meet you over there in just a second. See ya.